Welcome to the Irish in the UK. This week we're going to be meeting an extraordinary man called Tommy Grogan. Tommy's been in the pub business for 60 years. He's the UK's longest serving pub landlord and he'll be soon celebrating his 89th birthday. He's been here at the Albert pub in Withington, Manchester for 34 years and I'm popping inside to have a little chat with him.
I was born in a little place outside Ballyhonus in County Mayo, a village called Holywell. And it got its name because St Patrick apparently visited the village, and there is a blessed well in the village, and St Patrick knelt on a flag alongside the well. He left the track of his knee in the flag, and there's a hollow where he knelt down, and people come along and they bless themselves out of the water that's in that little groove. And it was very, very popular. Hundreds of people visited that well in years gone by.
What was it like growing up and what was your school days like?
I actually started school at 4.5 years and walked 3.5 miles to school in our bare feet. Yeah. Not because we didn't have shoes, but we just loved the fact that we were in our bare feet. We went to the convent school first, and the nuns were very nice. We used to have exercises. I was showing my grandchildren the other day the exercise we'd done. Shall I give you an example?
Go on.
Sus, she's, ama, isja. Sus, she's, ama, isja. Up, down, out, in. That's what gave us the muscles. That was our exercise.
I'll be doing them when I go home tonight, Tommy. Now, you started work at a very young age, didn't you?
I did. My father was working at the station and something cropped up one day. He couldn't go in and I went in his place. And at the time I was fairly fit. And I liked it. The lads liked me and I liked him, and I stayed on at the railway station at Ballyhonus, emptying turf. There was a lot of turf cut in the bogs that time, and there was a group of lads out in the bogs filling the motor wagons, and they came in to the railway station and we put the turf from the motor wagons into the railway wagons, and it was sent off to Dublin. I didn't know what to do with it or where it went after that.
And I believe you also worked in a forge.
In the earlier years, I spent summer holidays with a great friend of mine near Ahamore, a William Welsh, very popular blacksmith. And there was one occasion, the Yanks, that time, to bring an ass on the road, the public road, he had to have 2 shoes on his front feet. There was no word about the back feet. The hoofs could be turned up. But they paired the back. But he had to have 2 shoes on the ass to go on the main on a public road. And the Yank came to visit the homeland, and he brought the ass up to the forge one day, and he had them all, his hoofs paired and all this, and he put 4 shoes. He got the blacksmith to put 4 shoes on the poor old ass. And when he let the ass out, the ass wouldn't budge. He didn't know what had happened.
He couldn't walk on his new shoes.
He couldn't walk in his new shoes. It was like Val Dunnigan with the, what was that, hushing them and pushing them and shoving them and shit. They had to tie the ass and leave him there and go home till he found his fees and came back for them.
Now, Tommy, you arrived in Manchester on the 15th of July, 1952. What was Manchester like then?
It was roasting warm for a start. When I started work, the sweat was running down off me. But the place itself was great, you know. The dances was wonderful. The Astoria, the Savoy. But food was scarce. because there was a lot of rations going off. You could not buy one sweet without a coupon in 1952. There's an awful lot of people does not realise, and I don't know what we ate. There was spam, and you could get meat, but meat did not come off ration until 1954. I'm not sure how the landladies coped, to try and, because any landlady around all sales that time, the Irish they were there in their hundreds, and anyone that had any land or any family that had a spare room, they'd have at least 2 lads in digs, maybe 4 lads, 2 beds. All 2 lads sleeping in a double bed together. I don't know if they do it now or not, but it was all the go in those years.
Yeah. You worked in the building trade for quite a long time, and I believe you learned to trade there as well.
Well, I had a sort of a trade when I came here. I worked with an old gentleman in Ireland called Innes Sloyan, and I worked on houses with him. He was a marvellous man. And I got into the trade here. I got into the Royal Exchange in Manchester, Market Street, which was badly damaged during the war. And I got into it. It was a wonderful old man there, and I stayed there for quite a time.
And then after all that, Tommy, you decided to make a go for it, and you went to go into the pub business. And of course your first pub was the Crown in Rushoe. And then you went to the Strawberry Gardens in Droylsden, and then the Little Alex in Moss Side or in Hume was a really busy pub.
It was great, really. How I started, I worked one afternoon as a very popular Irish pub called the Robin, and the landlady mentioned that there was a pub in the vicinity coming vacant. We took the pub. We got married on the Saturday, by the way, and we went into the pub on the Monday. And I knew very little about handling money or a change, but fortunately, Anne, who came from Donegal, my wife, she worked in a shop in Ireland, and she knew how to handle the till.
Then after the Little Alex, you went to the English Martyrs Social Club, and then you arrived at the Albert in Withington.
We're still doing very good compared with, it's not the most luxurious pub, but the people like it the way it is.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me one time, some authorities asked me if we made any changes to the pub. And I said, yes, we made it smaller. And they said, what have you done? I said, we gave another coat of paint.
Now, Tommy, your wife Anne sadly passed away 30 years ago. Where did you both meet?
Oh, the Astoria, where practically 90% of the Irish couples that was married in the 50s and 60s, they nearly all met in the Astoria.
Now, tell me a little bit about your wedding day. You got married in the Holy Name, which was a big, massive church that time.
Oh, it was marvellous, really. I had a lot of good friends. We got married and we had a reception in the church in Stockport Road. It was a very popular place at the time.
Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, I got married to a lovely girl in Donegal, and we had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, but unfortunately the boy passed away some years ago. I have lovely grandchildren, and they're very good to me. I think they feel sorry for me, but I accept it. They're very kind and helpful.
Patricia, did you work in the pubs with your dad?
I did, yes. We all worked over in the English Martyrs to begin with, and then when Dad took the Albert, we went up to the Albert as well. So I think we were pulling pints before we should have been, to tell you the truth.
Now, of course, there was a great Irish community around Withington as well when you first went to the Albert 34 years ago.
That's right, yes. I was a young thing then, but 34 years on, we've still got a really good community up there. We're very fortunate we've been part of the Irish community over the years, and even though some people have passed on, but we've still got a good community of people coming in, and the sort of grandchildren of the original customers coming to us now. So it's nice to be part of it.
Absolutely. And of course, your dad is known all over the place, Angela. He's had so many pubs, he's made so many friends, and he's still going strong.
He is. He's a great character, and he's taught us a lot, you know, and the children, the grandchildren, and lots of other young people, really. Even my daughter's friends, you know, I think they quite look up to him.
And he's still full of life, and it's great to see him in there in the pub, pulling pints.
Yeah, he still does his bit, and I think he will be for a long, long time, so hopefully.
And it's great to see the Albert going so well, Patricia.
It is, yeah. The pubs, it's very different these days to how it was when Dad first started, but he's kept his own way of doing things, and he doesn't change too much, and it's a winning formula. He's done it for many, many years, and he's got good customers, and they're all very loyal to him. They enjoy spending time with him, and he enjoys spending time with them. So.
And of course, it's a very special time for all you family to have your dad here with you, and he's in great health, and he's going to be celebrating 89th birthday very soon.
Yeah, in January, 89th birthday, and then 60 years of licensee in November. So yeah, he's clocked up quite a few years.
We hope you're enjoying Tommy's story. We're going to take a little break, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Now this week we've been telling you a story about Tommy Grogan, who is the UK's longest serving pub landlord. Now we're going to continue on with Tommy's story, and we'll be meeting one or two of his friends. Now going back to the pub, what was the ladies' favourite drink back in your time?
Well, there was no port, there was no full licence. There was lots of pubs didn't have a full licence. Some of them apparently had, but most pubs didn't have a full licence. All they had was port and sherry. And that's what we had in our first pub, was port and sherry. And those little bottles of baby sham and sherry bee and I know that those bottles of the Guinness, bottles of Guinness. There was very, very few pubs had draft Guinness at the time. And most pubs had a vault, but the vault, no women allowed in the vault. Under any circumstances, women were not allowed in the vault.
And how much was a pint of beer when you first started out?
A pint of mild was 11 pence and bitter was 12 pence. You get 10 pints of bitter for £1.
What was the opening times?
On the weekdays it was, I don't know, was it 10 or 11 till 3:30, and from 5:30 to 10:30. And Sunday it was 12 to 2 and 7:30 to 10:30 on Sunday. So the lads, they drank from 12 to 2, they drank a lot of beer, especially Irish lads. They go home and have the dinner and be out again at 7:30 at night time for another session. And that'd be a good punch up.
But tell me a little bit about your hip replacements.
I've had, I don't know why my hips keep, I've had one hip there, that must be in 25 years, and it's good. And I've had 3 on this side by the same surgeon. And we're personal friends now, even though he's all done all that whacking at me. And because the last one, my leg had gone 2 inches short. And the last operation, which I had just a year since, and they had to put in a transplant of a bone. I don't know where they got it, but they put in a bone transplant of nearly 2 inches in there, and it's perfect.
I thought when I walked in the door today that you had grown a bit all right, so now I know.
On one side, I know I'm levelled off. I was a bit sideways before.
I was on the booze last night, the same again this morning.
I met Tommy in July 1975, and the first Sunday night after I arrived in Manchester, my cousins took me to English Martyrs Club, which was absolutely, it was an amazing club in those days. And Tommy and his wife Anne, they were running the English Martyrs at the time. And as you know, Tommy, you know, a stranger walks in, he always has a huge welcome for them.
Yeah.
Found out everything about me, realised that you know, I was from Donegal as well. His wife Anne, God rest her, she was from Donegal. We had something in common. We frequented English Martyrs, so I knew him all the time he was in English Martyrs. And then of course people move on in that. Tommy went to other pubs, the Alexandra, and he eventually ended up in the Albert, where he is now at the moment. He's been there 34 years. I went to the Cleveland originally, and it was Tommy's brother-in-law, Eddie Kelly, that had the Cleveland.
Yeah.
I spent 3.5 years there, so of course Tommy always gave me some advice and things like that, and I listened to him. And then we came to Fiddlers, which was a big one for us. You know, Tommy was somebody that if I needed to know something or if I needed advice, he was somebody I asked. He's been a good friend. He pops in, we have a cup of tea, we sit and we have a good chat. We had a very good night when I was 40, many years ago. He made a very colourful speech that night, and I wish Tommy the best of luck for his future years in the Albert. 60 years licensee, a huge achievement. I actually don't know anybody else that has done that, and I know people say to me here, yeah, you know, oh Bridie, you'll never leave Fiddlers and stuff like that. I'll have 29 years done this year.
Yeah.
I'll probably wait for my 30th, God willing, but after that, I don't plan to do 60 years, not like Tommy.
And Bridie, it's lovely to see that you've continued on this friendship all those years, and I know that Tommy comes in and out here with his family to you, and it's great to see that.
Yeah, Tommy has a lovely family. He's 2 daughters and a son, unfortunately, who's John. Rest in peace, he died a few years back. But Tommy has 2 lovely daughters, Angela and Patricia, and his grandchildren and his son-in-laws. They're a very close family. Yeah, I wish him every luck for the future and every success for the future.
And Bridie, before we finish, we're here at the Fiddlers today. Many congratulations to you and to James and to all your family and the wonderful staff you've got here at the Fiddlers. 29 years you're here. Now, what's going to happen for the big one next year?
Well, I'm definitely not going to be like Tommy. I'm definitely not going to do 60, I can assure you. But please God, next year we'll have some type of celebration for our 30th. And yeah, I'm very lucky. I've got James and I've got my 2 sons and my daughter and 4 grandchildren. We've got very, very loyal customers.
Yeah.
Some of them have been here as long as ourselves, which is nice. So yeah, I'm happy about that. And as for my staff, well, I mean, you can't do it without staff. You have to have staff. You know, brilliant. We have brilliant staff.
I was drinking with the jock, we was nipping up the whiskey.
Oh, I know Tommy a long time. He's an outstanding landlord, outstanding friend. He's a gentleman, and he's always asking about this one and that one, and he's inquisitive of how they're doing, and even the young ones how they're doing, you know. So he spends a lot of time with his grandchildren. I think he goes down to Witherspoons on a Saturday morning. That's the usual Saturday morning treat with the grandchildren, and that's very special, you know. Granddads are special.
Yeah.
But as a licensee, you know, he knows that many people, and a lot of his friends have been gone. I remember 10 years ago celebrating his 50 years, and it was a great achievement, you know.
Yeah.
And he was there pulling pints, and we went to the races. I forget now the races that we went to, but he always goes every year.
Yeah.
And he was there pulling the pint at 10 to 6, and when I came back in that night at 11 o'clock, and I'll not tell you how many pints I drunk, he was back to meet us and greet us that night as well. I'd say he had a few hours sleep during the day, more than us, and that's why he was fit, but he was so happy to see us all back in one piece, you know.
How long have you been a licensee, Kevin?
Well, I was just talking to Tommy the other night, and Tommy was saying he was a licensee at 27.
Yeah.
So I was a licensee at 23 in 1997. I came over in 1992, but my first license was 1997, the Cayley House on Stockport Road. So, Tommy, if I live as long as you, I'll outdo you. But I don't think the trade will stay that good for another 40 years.
Tell us how St Kent's doing these days.
St Kent's is going well. We still have a few regulars calling in and keeping an eye on things. Unfortunately, we do a lot of funerals. We specialise in funerals. It's nice and warm and cosy and comfortable. Parties, we have the Galway Association dance coming up now on the 12th of October. We've got the Wolf Tones on the 22nd of November, and poor Brian Warfield is very sick. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's there. So it could be the last tour for the Wolf Tones here in Manchester. I'm not saying it isn't, but they've been going a long, long time.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Matt Malloy coming to join us on Sunday the 24th of November. And everyone knows Malloy's Bar in Westport, County Mayo.
I'll be there in the morning, and if I don't make it home, I'll be there tomorrow night.
Now, Tommy, what does it feel like to be the longest serving pub landlord in England? And many congratulations as well to you on that.
Well, it's wonderful, and I must be crazy. It's been a wonderful life. I really enjoyed it. I've been involved in some punch-ups and lads getting drunk and wanting to fight, but it's been a marvellous life, a wonderful life, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Listen, Tommy, it's been a pleasure to meet you today. Many congratulations, first of all, on your 89th birthday coming up, and 60 years, the longest serving landlord in England. Well done to you. We're off, and you're going to pull me a nice pint of beer in your pub.
Oh, I am a little beggar man, and begging I have been for 80 and more in this little Isle of Green. I'm known from the Liffey down to Sagoo, and I go by the name of Old Johnny Goo. Of all the trades go, and begging is the best, for when a man is tired he can sit down and rest. He can beg for his dinner, he has nothing else to do but to hang around the corner with his old rigadoo. Early one morning with me sack on me back, holes in me shoes and me toes peeping through. Who should I awaken but the lady of the house, with the white calico apron and her calico blouse. She began to frighten and I said, "Boo! Don't be afraid, ma'am, it's only Johnny Goo."
Cheers, Tommy.
Thank you.
My goodness, you still pull a good pint of Guinness, and it tastes even better. No wonder you got the best award for a pint of Guinness in Manchester. Now, Tommy, I've really enjoyed having our time with you. We've enjoyed your story, and many congratulations to you, celebrating 60 years in the pub business, and the very best of luck for your big birthday coming up, 89 in a few months' time.
Good. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Now, I hope you've all enjoyed the show at home. Don't forget, Henry McGlade is back next Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, and we are here with the Irish in the UK at 7:30. Until then, take care, and thank you for watching.